Hey guys, so I know this is a bit of a late episode, but remember how I said I was going to review the rest of the stories I had on Collin Baker? Well, today is the start of that with the Twin Dilemma. Now, the Twin Dilemma is regarded as one of the worst stories of classic Doctor Who, and I disagree. Like, yes, it's not perfect, but I mean, for a first adventure of a Doctor, it was pretty good. I mean, it be, it certainly be, it certainly beats what was it, the Beast Below, because at least this Doctor is still trying to figure himself out because it's newly regenerated. I mean, sure, it's no the 11th hour, but you know, for the classic era, and it actually starts off a lot like how the third Doctor's first story starts. Only John Pertwee didn't try to kill his companion, but that's because he was still groggy because of the forced regeneration. But other than that, but anyways, what I liked about it, okay, I have to admit, it starts off slow. I mean, sure, we have to get introduced to the twin characters, we have to establish the problem of the Doctor being mental through most of the story. However, that goes away within the second part of the episode. Sure, the manic mood swings become more and more, like, less apparent, but I mean, like he says at the end of the episode, he fully stabilizes by the end of the fourth episode, by the end of the fourth part, and quite frankly, it actually, I like the story, though granted, the acting methods of the twins were a little bit to be desired. However, I'm not gonna deny, for teenage actors in any time in history, they performed pretty well. And considering how plank of wood some teens act in Nickelodeon and Disney shows, they actually look like they were invested in what they were doing and not, oh gee, well, what's that for? That some Nickelodeon Disney shows do. But then again, I have heard that Gavin and Andrew Conrad, who played the two twins, their careers didn't do that well after Doctor Who. Like, this was the best. I think was the best thing that they had in their career, best part of their resume. Which, I mean, let's be real, if you get to be part of a global phenomenon when you were younger, you're gonna look back and gloat on that. Sure, again, it might be one of the least favored stories of any of the classic era. I mean, it's kind of hard to follow off of Peter Davison's magnum opus final episode, but considering, like, it picks up right where the Twin Dilemma lets off. You know, right after Colin says, "Change, my dear," and it seems not a moment too soon, and then, well, bam, that's where this episode picks right back up. And again, this is gonna seem a little controversial, but I think Collin Baker is 12 done right. I mean, I hated Peter Capaldi in his first two stories. His first, not stories, his first two seasons. But his last season with, what's her name? Pearl Mackie as Bill Potts. Now, that was amazing. And yes, I will admit, I will admit, Peter Capaldi has some good episodes in series 8 and 9, but consider, I mean, I've only gotten, so far, right now, I only have the Twin Dilemma, the Mark of the Rani, and Ventures on Veros, which this episode rocked. Like, I loved this episode. This episode, on the other hand, well, I'll talk about when I review it. Then again, because, well, yes, it introduces the Ronnie, but I'll talk about it when I talk about it. Which, considering I have another episode coming Sunday, we'll probably talk about these two stories tomorrow. But as of right now, the Twin Dilemma, not a bad way to start off a tenure. I mean, I've also seen the first story of the second Doctor, Power of the Daleks, and granted, I'll give them that this story has a bit of a crutch to it because it was the very first episode of the very first time a new Doctor had taken over the role, because in this episode, Patrick Troughton had just taken over from William Hartnell when it originally aired. So people were right to have speculation, but then again, they do the similar thing at the end of this episode when Collin Baker, literally addressing down the lens of the camera, goes, "I am the Doctor, whether you like it or not." If a modern Doctor did that, I mean, some of them do the, looking at the monster and just going, "I'm the Doctor." But however, they don't go whether you like it or not at the end. And that's actually a bold stroke to do, especially for considering this era of the show, the Collin Baker era, is regarded as the worst time in Classic Who, and I'm like, so you're just gonna disregard the lackluster stories that was the Pertwee era. But then again, considering I've legit tried watching, I've watched a few Pertwee stories now, and it was like his first few seasons before he was, unbanished from Earth. But then again, I get that. But like I said in my ranking, that only leaves for certain types of stories to be told, either alien invasion or robot attack, which he fought off against the Cybermen. No, not the Cybermen. I want to say the Daleks a few times, and the base under siege, which is kind of what started with the first Doctor when the unit was first introduced, with, I think it was Genesis of the Cybermen, I want to say. Yes, because that was the introduction of the Cybermen. Anyways, back to the story. Asmel is a character, the old scientist, or Edgeworth Asmel, the friend of the Doctor in this story. The performer does really well at portraying him, as well as, despite not being able to emote, not being able to hear him act behind the costume, the person who plays Mestor, he does amazing. Granted, he is stuck behind a slug costume, and my problem was with Jax in Case Androzani, it's kind of hard for an actor to properly project when they're behind like a prosthetic or something. Like that's also some of the complaints of the second and third incarnations of the Master, because all you can see of them is his teeth. But you know, that's plot element to that. But again, so nah, that's pretty much all I had to say of this episode. Nicola Bryan again did amazing as Perry. Collin Baker, just when he's not trying to kill Perry. For our first episode, he gets into his own quite quickly. And I love that kind of a Doctor. I mean, sure, Matt Smith did it with a few wonks and his steps there and here and there, but then again, you kind of had to follow in the shoes of Tennant, which is kind of like what Colin had to do. Anyways, that's pretty much all I thought of it. I didn't exactly have any problems with the episode, though. I have to say the plan was a bit ridiculous on the monster's part, but other than that, I didn't have anything to complain about it. I mean, it's certainly not worth all the hate that it gets, and like it's said to be the worst classic Doctor story. Not that I see. And again, that's because people might have different opinions than I do, because I personally think that 6 is 12 done right, because they're both angry doctors and they're both manic, but 6 is able to do it better than old Scottish McEyebrows over here. I apologize if I offended him with that accent. I won't do it again, but you know, I'm Scottish. Again, I'm not gonna do it again. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. More overdue Doctor Who episodes will be coming out, you know, once I buy them, because it doesn't feel right watching them on the archives. I'd rather have a physical copy. Anyways, thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time, and I'll see you tomorrow with another overdue Doctor Who video. Bye!